Back way too?
Good to see you. Good.
Excuse me. Thank you, appreciate you. Yeah, I'm running late, sorry, buddy. All right. Y'all ready? Appreciate everybody.
Good morning. Today I'm going to give you a brief update on the homicide that occurred August 10th on Rowan Mill Road. That homicide now has been upgraded to a double homicide. In my 2 decades of service in law enforcement, I've witnessed a lot of tragic events. But what occurred in our community on August the 10th was one of the most egregious acts of violence that I've ever encountered. The senseless killing of an 80-year-old and a 3-year-old little girl sleeping in the top bunk of her bunk bed is a crime that shocks the conscience of our department, and it should be just as shocking to every member of the community. More than 30 shots were fired into that home. We're grieving alongside the family that have lost their loved ones, and we are resolute in our commitment to bring justice to those responsible. Salisbury Police Department is using every state, local, and federal agency available resource to them to bring those responsible for this act of justice. Our officers are working around the clock on rotations, combing through every piece of evidence, conducting interviews, follow-up leads, and collaborating with other law enforcement agencies to ensure justice is served. Last Thursday, detectives arrested Kevin Antonio Smith Jr. following a multi-county vehicle pursuit. He had a multitude of outstanding felony warrants, and information gathered indicates that he was one of the intended targets at Rowan Mill Road. And that's the place of the double homicide. Let me be crystal clear. We're not going to rest, and we're committed to find those that are responsible for this heinous act, and we won't rest until they're held accountable. We can't do it alone. We need the help from our community. Someone out there saw something, knows something, heard something, or they have information that could be key to solving this case. We're asking for assistance. Please, if you have any information, no matter how small it may seem, come forward. Your cooperation could be the difference between closure to the families and ensuring the safety of our community. It's nothing short of tragic that an 80-year-old man has been senselessly murdered in such a brutal fashion. This man should have been able to live out the remaining years of his life in peace, surrounded by family and friends, not struck down by this despicable act of violence. Even more heartbreaking is the loss of a 3-year-old Maisha Engel, an innocent little girl whose life had just begun. This child never got to experience the joys and milestones that we often take for granted. Her first day of school, making friends, and growing up surrounded by love and opportunity. Her future was stolen. And that's something that should fill everyone with outrage and sorrow. The murder of this little girl defies comprehension. It's a cruel reminder that there are those among us that have no regard for human life. As your chief of police, I am outraged, and I know you share this anger. This is not a crime against 2 innocent victims. It's a crime against the very fabric of our community, and it should shock the conscience of every single one of us. In closing, I want to assure you we will do everything in our power to bring those responsible for this atrocity to justice, but we need your help. Let us come together as a community to find those that have committed this terrible crime, and to make it clear that such acts of violence will not be tolerated in Salisbury. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Salisbury Investigator line at 704-638-5333, and you can ask for the investigator tip line, or you can call Crime Stoppers at 866-639-JAIL. That's 866-639-5245. There's a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of anybody in this crime. And all information that is received will remain confidential if you choose it to. So I'll take a few questions this time if there's any.
Jay, do you have any idea why this particular house or this particular person was targeted? Can you say that yet?
Yes. This was not a random act of violence. I think if you look at the person that we took into custody in Charlotte last week and you look at his record, I can give you a little bit of idea of why this crime occurred at this location.
Has he been living at this residence? Is that what
He has been associated with that residence. I can't say for sure that he was living there, but he was associated with it. Evidence found during our investigation led us to the facts that we know that he was one of the intended targets of that crime.
One of? Are
Yeah.
there other targets
There-
still outstanding?
Yes.
And what is his connection to the 2 victims? Is there a family relation, anything like that?
I don't know if there's any family connection related to him and the victims. I don't know, other than just association.
How are the victims related?
From what I understand, yes, great-grandfather and granddaughter.
How many suspects are you looking at right now in this investigation?
I don't want to put a number on that. I'll tell you, we know who we're looking for, and they know that we know that who we're looking for. But I don't want to release anything that's going to jeopardize the integrity of the case as far as numbers. But we are looking for more than one person.
Were there other occupants in the house that have been like working with law enforcement, other than the great-grandfather and the 3-year-old?
Yes, there were many occupants in the house, to include children, and investigators have interviewed quite a few of the members that were in the residence at the time, and also neighbors in the surrounding area.
Can you speak to the area where this occurred, for people who aren't from the Salisbury area? area of town?
Yeah, so it happened on South Main Street and Rowan Mill Road, close to that area. If you know where the Forum Gym is, kind of behind that, Rowan Mill Road is the intersection just past the Forum Gym. You take a right, and it occurred directly behind the gas station there in that location.
Are you looking for this car? Is that what the pictures are?
Yeah, that's a picture of the possible suspect car that left the scene after the shooting. And I will have Major Cruz send a better quality picture to every one of you in here, so you can have that. That's better than what's been blown up on this.
Do we know what kind of car it is?
I don't at this time, other than it looks like a white four-door sedan. I don't know the make and model, but if we have that information, we will send that along with this information was given to us late yesterday evening. Investigators now are going through other cameras that we have throughout our city to see if we get a better angle. And whenever we do, and if we do, I'll send the make and model and a better picture of the car to you as well.
Chief, when you came in, you were very emotional. This is really shaking this community to its core.
I'm angry. I mean, this is senseless. You've got more than one person that brought this crime to a location where two innocent people ended up being the result and are no longer with us. They lost their life. And like I said earlier, that it shows that there's people out there that have no regard for human life. You can't fix violence with violence. And I'm angry that I have a 3-year-old that fought for her life for a week. And shortly, mid-afternoon Monday, lost that battle. And that I'm even having to have this press conference right now. But I reassure you guys that my investigators, along with other partners, are working around the clock. No stone left unturned. Putting every effort that we can into solving this case as quickly as we can. Not only for our department, but for the family and for our community.
Can you provide the spelling of the 3-year-old for us?
First name Myisha, Myisha. The last name is pronounced Angle, but spelled like Angel. Angel, but it's pronounced Angle.
In the day of this crime, can you tell us any of the circumstances that may have led up to gunfire? Do we know if there was an argument? What do we know about what happened in the residence?
So an incident occurred between two parties, I guess you say. And fruits of that argument ended up in this location, and they came looking for it.
Are there other violent incidents that are attached to this case?
Yeah, so 2 days prior, this same exact house was shot into. Nobody was injured, and there was just property damage reported at that time.
Chief, there are neighbors in the area that have expressed concern about their own safety. Is there anything that you can say to reassure them?
All I can say is this was not a random act of violence. It's an incident like this, I know, spread fear across the community, and fear is not something that I can stand up here as a chief and say, don't be fearful. But what I can ask the community to do is to be vigilant. If they hear anything, know anything, reach out and let us know. And know that your police department is doing everything that they can, along with partners from other agencies, to bring closure to this swiftly.
Can you give me an idea what other agencies you're working with?
Yeah, we're working with our Sheriff's Department, we're working with the SBI, we're working with the ATF, we're working with the FBI, we're working with Homeland Security, and we're collaborating with our District Attorney's Office.
are aware of who some of the other suspects, maybe you don't want to release that. Was it interviews that led you to that conclusion? Was it evidence like this? How were y'all able to narrow down who you're looking for?
It was a combination of all that. It was evidence and it was interviews. Evidence spoke volumes.
Is this coming down to a broader gang issue in Salisbury?
I can't say that this particular incident was gang-related. I will say that the activities that took place in this are consistent with what gangs act in and what they are involved in.
Earlier, you mentioned the area that this happened in. Could you repeat that for me, please?
South, it's Rowan Mill Road, probably right in the 200 block of Rowan Mill Road, and it's off of South Main Street. So heading south out of our city on South Main Street, you'll pass the Forum Gym. There's a gas station on the corner. Take a right, and it's the duplex apartment complex right behind the gas station.
Do you know if the community is doing anything for the family? Are there any fundraisers for this little girl? Is there anything that you know of, any type of help that they're receiving or that somebody's stepping in to get them?
So I don't know what the community's doing. I know what my department's doing. Dr. Alberta McLaughlin is our victim's advocate, and she has been with the family from the time throughout the duration at the hospital up until Monday. She was with them when the baby was pronounced deceased.
You said she passed away on Monday, after a week-long battle for her life at the hospital. Was that hospital here in Salisbury, or was she transported?
She was transported to Baptist Hospital.
From Novant?
Yes.
Can you speak directly to those who know who these suspects are?
If you know who these suspects are, and you're not saying anything, and you know this act and two innocent victims are now a result of the acts that took place, if you're not saying something, you're not coming forward, you're just as guilty as the person that pulled the trigger in my eyes. Any other questions? Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. And I will email, I'll have Major Cruz email a better quality picture of the car and more contact information if somebody wants to report information anonymously.
Will there be plans for future briefings, or?
Yes, I hope so. I hope very soon there'll be a future briefing and we talk about arrest.
Thank you.
Thank you.